Welcome, Virgo and Virgo cross watchers, to your monthly love reading. So I hope you guys have had a wonderful day, and of course, thank you for stopping by my channel today. So we're going to get the relationship situation and then what each of you is thinking and feeling about each other, along with each of your actions or intentions towards each other. Interesting. Oh my goodness. Okay. So for your headspace, we have the Queen of Pentacles. In your heart space, it looks a little complicated. We have the Ten of Cups, the Fool, King of Pentacles, and the Moon. Virgo, I almost want to say, it feels like you're having a lot of clarity, like intellectually, about the situation. It's almost like you know that there's something here that, like, if you leave it alone, if you stop kind of, almost want to say, like, poking at it, that it'll handle itself. But I feel like you may be the kind of person that's used to, like, here's a problem, I'm going to fix it. Whereas here, it's almost like you know that this can just be kind of handled if it's left alone. I also want to say, the imagery is very different on these cards than in the regular deck. Whoops. And I don't think this card has actually come out yet. With the snake offering the pentacle there, it just seems like a little, it's like there's something tempting here. I don't think that it is something enough that's going to make you do something. Okay, that's too many cards. That you don't want to do in the future. I'm just going to make sure they're all upright. It feels more like it's something that it's tempting enough to make you look in that direction, but not tempting enough to make you actually want it, if that makes sense. So, your intentions. Oh, we have judgment. And in Virgo's person's headspace. Interesting. I'm getting the vibe of, like, almost like a forlorn kind of pining for you energy. Just kind of the way the imagery in this card. It's almost like this person feels like they have to accept less than, not in this situation with you, that you seem out of reach for them somehow. Hold on. And in their heart, for Virgo. We have the, Seven of Swords. Oh, sorry, of course we need what's the situation between Virgo and their person? World, it's the Eight of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Okay. So Virgo. I feel like with your person here, it's almost like they seem to be more comfortable in an energy that's like pining after somebody, that's wanting someone, that's, it's almost like they have an affinity for pining for people. I don't know if that makes sense. It just kind of feels like this person is, when it comes to romantic situations, it doesn't feel like this person's very mature. I feel like it's almost like the way that they are pining for you. I know I keep saying that, sorry. It's almost got this like unrequited love from kind of like a high school sort of energy. Like it's that kind of immaturity. You seem to be, to them, very out of reach. But I am kind of feeling a little bit of, forlorn obsession, right? It's like the absolutely most attractive person could sit down right next to them, and it would almost feel like it's an intrusion of that person's energy because they'd rather focus on you. So, The King of Cups usually talks about someone that is very emotionally mature. I mean, this could be like a water sign that you're dealing with. It may not. It's just the energy of somebody that is, it's almost like when they think about it, they feel this like obsession, but in their heart, I feel like they're almost a little detached, if that makes sense. It feels like the energy of somebody that doesn't actually know what they want, but is rushing everything. You know what I mean? It feels like somebody that would be very like curt and short in their speech. I feel like internally they have this almost romanticized view of relationships and love. I'm just seeing 555 on the time clock there. Um, but anyway, it's just the type of energy of somebody that it's almost like it's easier for them to be in that energy of wanting and pining for you than it is for them to actually like make a move. You know what I mean? It's like they want to imagine themselves as somebody that wants this, that would do that. But when it actually comes down to it, it's a very different energy that they're presenting to you. The Knight of Swords talks about, things moving really quickly. There's two cards of that here, actually. The Eight of Wands usually talks about, like, passionate movement and lots of messages and that sort of thing. But the Knight of Swords talks about, it's almost like an inconvenient truth delivered very harshly. You know what I mean? It's almost like this person, um, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not so sure they seem to be the right match for your energy. And that's not, uh, you know, me personally giving you that advice or that being advice from the cards. It's kind of what I'm seeing from you. It's almost this energy of like maybe you gave this person a chance, um, but I feel like the more that you see of them, it's almost this energy of like feeling a little bit disgusted with the whole thing. If that makes sense. I feel like this person might be driven forward to do something. So I'm just gonna quickly look for some hand cream. I don't think I have any up here. Dang. Okay. Sorry, guys. Um, I feel like this person is somebody that needs people to see them in a certain light, and I feel like they let that need for, you know, it may not even be others' approval, but just for other people to see them a certain way. Not even for them to be liked, but just for them to be seen as this specific type of person. They they often will like as soon as they feel like people are not seeing them in that light, I feel like they let that push them into impulsive um, you know, actions that I mean obviously impulsive in and of itself means that they're not well thought out, but it's like this person doesn't even think if I do this, then this opinion will change to whatever it is that they want, right? It's more like they feel that, hold on for a second. They feel that people aren't seeing them a certain way, and that pushes them into doing something that they see themselves as not secure about, if that makes sense. I don't think I'm explaining it well. It's like whatever they're insecure about, they allow other people's, I guess, opinion to push them into doing something impulsively to compensate for that. And in that, it's like, as the old saying goes, or old adage, or whatever, you can't keep everybody happy. It's, impossible. And in that same light, you can't make everybody think what you want them to think about you. And I feel like this person isn't, it's almost like not quite frantic, but it's a very chaotic energy, right? Frantic implies that like you're pushing for something specifically. I feel like the reason chaotic matches them better is because it's like they're all over the map, right? It's almost like it doesn't even matter, or like they don't have specific people that they want to think a certain way about them. So it's like, Joe Blow off the street could possibly influence this person to act in a way that they don't want to or that they're not ready to, for the sole purpose of, I don't want people to think a specific type of way about me. So, we're going to start down at your intentions towards this person. I mean, the Judgment card obviously talks about kind of like that maturing and transitioning. Honestly, I'm not trying to be crappy to this person, but if you haven't already, I definitely see you pulling away from this person. So I'm just going to move the mic a bit closer. I don't really see you being, it almost feels like you have a bit of a bird's eye view. I almost said third eye view, probably the same thing, of the situation, and seeing, it's almost like you're able to see what you didn't see before, not just about this person, but about yourself and the connection between the two of you. And it's almost like you're waiting for this whole situation, just like the cards were saying earlier up here, you're just waiting for the whole situation to take care of itself. It almost feels like to run its course, if that makes sense. And let me be really clear, it doesn't feel like you're sitting around waiting for somebody to do something for you. I feel like you're waiting for this to kind of peter out, if that makes sense. It does feel like a loss, but it doesn't feel that you're necessarily upset about the loss of this person. It feels more like it's a loss of, from your perspective, of being able to see the world in a certain way. It's like a loss of innocence from your end, from what I'm seeing. And it feels, it's almost like it feels like there's a bit of sadness there, but much bigger than that. It's like, oh, it's time. It's that kind of a thing. So, lots going on in your heart space here. I mean, it feels like at one point in time, I almost said, it feels like at one point in time, this situation may have made you happy, but I feel like with this new perspective that you've got, I feel like you're actually seeing that it wasn't you being happy, it was you being happy relative to the trauma that you've experienced in your life, right? I hope that makes sense. So it's like if you experience certain issues in your connections to people early in your life, or in other relationships before this person, you were happy relative to that, right? So it's like if you were treated, I'm not saying that you were, but if you were treated like garbage in the past, and then the next person treats you a little bit better than garbage but still not as good as you should be, you know what I mean? It's like you're seeing that it was relative to your previous experience, and that it's almost like you realize that you were never really happy. You know what I mean? I feel like you may have been somebody that it's like, it felt like at the time, like, oh, life is going great, and life is this, and life is that. And it's like, but then you would have almost like these crying spells that came out of nowhere. And I feel like part of it is, I mean, obviously it's a release, right? But it feels like it's almost like it's the you now, this more mature you, that was kind of weeping for what was happening, weeping for how you were being treated. It's almost like something in you knew that something was off here, but because it was relative, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'll mute my phone if it keeps dinging. Sorry. You were happy relative to what was happening, but knowing that it still wasn't functional. It still wasn't, it's like it was maybe it wasn't causing as much trauma, but it was still impacting you with a negative impact. That's not a good sentence. It was still having an impact on you that was negatively affecting where you are, how you feel about yourself. It's almost like you knew that it was less than what you deserved, or at least you know that now. It's almost like you were in this energy where, like, well, life is so great. Why am I so unhappy? And I feel like it's because it may not have been as great as you thought it was. And now I'm going to generalize here, Virgo. Okay, so if this doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. From what I've seen in Virgos, you guys can be so hard on yourself. Um, and it's almost like you may have been in an energy where you were thinking like, well, is it actually not a good connection, or am I just being too critical, or am I being this, or you know what I mean? Not second guessing yourself necessarily. Um, I mean, maybe it is. It just feels like you were thinking that your critical nature was the problem when actually it's almost like it was easier, maybe not easier. Again, this may be specific. In the past, your quote unquote critical nature may have been used or scapegoated by other people so that they could excuse their poor behavior towards you and make it be like, oh, well, it's because you're so critical, or you're so this, or you're just overthinking things. When in actuality, you were probably calling someone out on their BS that you saw, and they tried to make it somehow an error on your part when it wasn't. So, oh, interesting. We have the King and Queen of Pentacles here. Um, Oftentimes that can mean that like it's a true pair situation. Um, but I want to be really clear. Okay, it doesn't necessarily feel that this is that the King of Pentacles is on your side. It doesn't really feel like this person is, you know, your true pair or your true match. I feel like if that was the case, it actually feels like it would be really disappointing to you. Almost like is this really all there is? And that's not to be mean to this person. It's just, it's not for you, right? So I feel like there may have been times where you felt that you were maybe unkind or too critical to this person. Um, but it's like, but then in thinking that you may have been that, I feel like there were other times where you didn't speak up because you thought that that's what you were doing. And I feel like then this person would, it's almost like they would be given permission or carte blanche to kind of act like a bit of an idiot towards you. And I feel like that seemed to almost solidify that you're not really interested in them. It just feels like it's almost like there's this void here that you're feeling. You know what I mean? In a nutshell, it kind of feels like there's an ending here. I mean, obviously, right? And I feel like part of you is feeling a little bit sad, but when you kick into that sad energy, it's like there's this void here, and it's kind of like, well, where shouldn't I be feeling sad? Shouldn't I be feeling this? Shouldn't I be feeling that? And it's almost that energy of like, again, not to, be unkind to this person, okay, but you weren't in a relationship that was, I'm trying to find a nice way to say this, that was like up to par, okay? You weren't in a relationship with someone that is capable of being a partner to you. And I feel like the resentment and the, not even resentment, but the indignation almost that this person thought that they could, it's like you kick into this energy where you're a little indignant that they would kind of even play these games, but I feel like the wisdom in you is seeing that they're just not capable of anything else. You know what I mean? Sometimes people are doing it because they're, not a good person, or they're maybe punishing in this situation, right? sometimes people are punishing you because of past relationships and they're just angry at the world. It doesn't feel like that. I feel like the reason the void is there is because you see that this person, they were just never capable of it in the first place, right? So it's almost like there's, on surface level, knee-jerk reaction is like frustration and anger and all of this sort of stuff, but it's almost like you feel like it's actually not that you can't be angry, but that it's hard to be angry at them because you can see with this wisdom that you have that they're they're just not capable. So finally, with this world card in between the two of you, look, no relationship that lasts for any period of time is all bad, right? Even in some of those really challenging or really, you know, I would dare to say even dangerous relationships, there's that honeymoon period, right? Not to say that this was that type of situation. Um, I feel like there are certain moments that you had with this person that felt very intimate, that were very fulfilling. And I feel like not holding on to those moments like you want to relive them or anything like that, or holding on to them in the sense that um, that you can't let this person go, or any of the negative stuff that people put on holding on to things. I feel like you, as this situation kind of takes care of itself, I feel like you're able to maintain an impressive level of compassion for this person by, holding on to, without the negative connotation, those intimate moments that you had with them, right? When they let all of this down and they were just themselves, when that part of them kind of peeked through, it felt like it was somebody that you could really connect with. But I feel like then when all of this other stuff got in the way, when their kind of insecurities and need to prove to other people that they are this or that kind of person, like it's just not a game that you're going to be playing, right? So I think I'll leave it there, Virgo. If this reading resonated, I hope it was helpful. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see you on the next one. Much love. Bye.